back to First Things First. Right after this show comes another one. It's called Undisputed. Great show. It's in 11 minutes. Joy Taylor joins us now. Joy, good morning. What are you and the guys talking about today?
Good morning, Jenna. Coming up on Undisputed, people like Nick are saying that the Cavs won the East last night, but are they right? And are we about to see a new Des Bryant? We'll discuss all of that. Plus, Chris Broussard and Hall of Famer Rod Woodson are in studio with us. Undisputed is coming up next. I saw that snow up there. I hope you guys are staying warm and safe. Back to you guys.
That didn't seem genuine.
Not at all. It was a little fake. All right, Joy. We are sticking with the Cavs here after allowing a season-high 79 points in the first half, trailing by 15 to the Raptors. LeBron and the Cavs took over, beating the top seed in the East 132-129. LeBron, how about this line? 35 points, 17 assists, no turnovers. Here he is on if he sent a message.
No. It's a good win for us just because how depleted we are with our roster and everything that's been going on. It's a good win for us versus a very good opponent. But I don't need to remind anybody what my teams are capable of doing. So that wasn't a factor.
All right, Cece, how meaningful was last night's game for both of these teams, for the Raptors and for the Cavs?
Well, let's start with the Cavs and with LeBron, what he's talking about. You don't have your coach. You don't have several key players. You're just now getting Kevin Love back. He's been back one game. And let's talk about the guys he does have there. Not a whole bunch of confidence. JR playing bad, coming off the bench. Hadn't played really good coming off the bench. George Hill, he's maybe had one or two good games since the trade. His best game last night. So going into that game, man, you're talking about a huge underdog. I almost tweeted before the game, must win for Toronto, given the odds. And Cleveland, you think it's bad? I mean, they get the news before the game that Kyle Korver, his brother, who's ill, 27-year-old, he dies. So not only Kyle, we're trying to support Kyle, allowing him to go support his family, but the team also, when you lose a player like that, when you lose one of your brothers or his brother, it affects the rest of the team. So for them to be focused and the big lead that Toronto had from the beginning, for the Cavs to come back with that script that LeBron, that storyline that LeBron had, with that stat line that LeBron had, man, this is huge. This is huge. How does Toronto gain confidence from this game? Like, how do they gain? So it was great for Cleveland, and for me, I believe it's only beneficial for the role players at Toronto. They haven't lost that much to LeBron, so still the allure of LeBron is still maybe in its infancy stage. But Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, they've been getting this their whole career. So there's no way that they left Cleveland last night feeling better about themselves as a team, as good as they've played for 5 months. At the end of the day, can we beat LeBron James? And last night, they had more questions leaving there than they had answers.
The second half of that game last night was the absolute worst case scenario for Toronto. You've got a 15-point lead. The Cavs are without 4 of their top 8 in their rotation.
Absent of injury?
Right, you as Toronto, you're playing everyone that matters except for C.J. Miles. And if there's any team that's capable of being without one rotation guy, it's a team that plays 12 people.
Right, them in Houston have been the most consistent with lack of injuries to their key players, and it's not ironic they have the best records, too.
Exactly right. And so everything's going your way. And then LeBron activates that playoff mode that he's been in seemingly for the last 6 weeks, but put it into hyperdrive last night to remind you, you have no answer. You traded for Serge Ibaka to try to be an answer. You're not even asking him to guard LeBron anymore. You've given up on that. You're asking Pascal Siakam to do it. And by the way, Pascal did a pretty decent job.
He really did.
I know it sounds weird because LeBron had 35 and 17 with no turnovers, but on those...
He slowed him down.
He slowed him down a little bit.
Just barely.
I mean, and so it was the exact opposite of what you needed to have happen last night if you're Toronto. And if you're Cleveland, because, Cece, you talk about the young players on the Raptors haven't lost to LeBron. Well, the new players on Cleveland haven't beaten up on Toronto. The new players on Cleveland have not experienced what it's like to play with LeBron when he is at this level. LeBron averaged a triple-double for the first month of his career in March. He is now averaging 31, 10 and 9.9. So if he finishes the month with a couple 11 assist games, he's going to do it in consecutive months. By the way, prior to LeBron doing it, only 3 players had ever averaged a triple-double for a month. He is playing offensively as well as he's ever played. And what you saw to me last night was LeBron recognized the importance of the second half of that basketball game. And when you saw the Raptors recognizing the importance and wilting, DeRozan 1 of 6 in the second half, like that's problematic for them.
I think another thing, just people won't even get this. I bet Ty Lue was pretty happy. Ty Lue is a guy I like. Gotten a chance to know him through some mutual friends. I believe he's really underrated as a coach. I like him as a human being. He's trying to cut his teeth in the toughest spot to cut your teeth. That's coaching one of the greatest players in LeBron James. So him sitting there trying to get healthy. He said he's eating better. He's taking some yoga class, getting some exercises. You know what's the best therapy? To see your team out there playing well, playing as a unit, coming back as a team. So I believe not only good medicine for the Cleveland Cavs, but for their coach and Tyronn Lue,
right.
You know, to get that win for him to be able to see that and know, man, I don't necessarily have to rush. This team seems to be all right now. I believe that will help him in his recovery.
What is a statement game, really? I mean, how is this going to affect Toronto? How does it affect Cleveland? Is Toronto suddenly going to have Cleveland sort of as that annoying thorn in its side that we're not going to get out of the East because of Cleveland? And for the Cleveland, all of a sudden they say, hey, listen, we beat the best team in the Eastern Conference, so we have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I think when you're in team sports or you're working collectively as a group with a company, you set a standard for what you're going to do. We know when our shows are better than others. We leave here sometime and be like, man, that was a good show. And we set out to try to come up with that standard for the next time. Now, Toronto, they've been able to do that all season. But we saw what happened in Houston in the fourth quarter, in Sunday's game. We saw what happened in last night's game in the fourth quarter. So you have to try to make a statement so you don't keep having the same memories keep coming back into your brain.
And the psychology of the Cavs and LeBron against these guys. 2 years ago, in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Cavs go up 2-0. At that point in the time in the playoffs, the Cavs had played 10 games. They were 10-0. The Raptors win the next 2. And LeBron is asked about it after the game, about facing adversity. And LeBron said one of the most dismissive things we have ever heard him say about another team. He said, I've faced adversity before in my career. This isn't it. Eat that, Toronto, then lose 2 straight. Next year, after losing those 2 straight to lose the Eastern Conference Finals in 2016, you're playing Toronto in the second round. Toronto has the taste in mouth from last year. You remember what they did in that game? They are throwing alley-oops off the backboard in game 1. Eat that, Toronto. Get swept out of the playoffs. Now, this is your year. You have your bench. DeRozan, which he is, playing at an all-time high. Kyle Lowry has recognized, I'm the second best player on this team, and I'm better in that role. We're up 15. We score 79 first-half points. Eat that, Toronto. You're up 1 at the end of 3. You end up losing the basketball game when LeBron plays a nearly perfect, from an offensive standpoint, game of basketball. Last night, to me, and this year when they make the finals in Cleveland, will be, I think, the final answer to a question basketball fans have asked for a long time. If you put LeBron on any team in the East, any team, would they become the favorites in the East? Man, when he's playing like this,
they would have to be. It's not like the Cavs are this juggernaut in the Eastern Conference when he's not there compared to when he is here. But, Cece, is LeBron James playing the best basketball he's played far and away all season, much less, I don't know, the last couple of years?
I think that we can argue that. I know the numbers indicate that. And LeBron has made adjustments. When they decided to trade Kyrie, LeBron didn't want that. They have forced him to handle the ball more. They have forced him to be a more dominant offensive player. If you look at the players that touch the ball in Cleveland, LeBron touches the ball more now than any other point in his career. And that was forced out of the trade when they traded Kyrie. So to see his game grow, he talked about this offseason, how he found something in his elbow that really helped him with his shooting percentage. He's shooting from three-point range better than he's ever shot before. I believe his dribbling game, a lot like Steph, a lot like KD, a lot like Harden, he can get free more often. So, yes, this to me is the best I've seen him.
It's certainly the best offensively I've seen him. Overall, he does not he either doesn't have it in him anymore or is choosing to wait until particular moments to go full bore defensively the way he was his first few years in Miami throughout the regular season. But what my biggest takeaway from last night, more so than the 15-point comeback, more so than being the first player in NBA history to have more than 30 points, more than 15 assists, and 0 turnovers in a game, was the pass to Kevin Love. One of the 11 assists on three-pointers LeBron had last night. The pass to Kevin Love to win the game, essentially. Up 1, less than a minute left, going to the basket, kicking it to your guy in the corner. That play right there is a play LeBron has been criticized for since year 2 in the NBA. That play right there is the one where people say, you know, Kobe would have shot it. Mike would have shot it. The best players of all time, they'd have shot it. What are you scared of, LeBron? Why won't you put it on your shoulders, LeBron? LeBron has decided, I am not going to wilt to the noise. I am not going to buy into that there is some ego or machismo associated with being the best player in the world, that I have to be the one that shoots it. What I buy into is what is the best basketball play. And I don't care that if he misses that, I'm going to get blamed. I am going to robotically almost make the best basketball play. That to me is what LeBron is head and shoulders better than anyone in the history of the league that's also an elite scorer at doing. Magic always made the best basketball play, but Magic didn't have the ability to finish at the rim the way LeBron does. That game last night, write it in stone, man. When the Raptors are down 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, they'll remember that game last night.
Great show today, guys. Have a great night. A little college basketball tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Stick around. Undisputed starts right now.